Hello and welcome back, children. This is Mr. Muzaffar presenting before you the eighth chapter of your Honeycomb Reader. The name of the chapter is Fire, Friend, and Foe. My dear children, yesterday I taught you the key points, the main points of this chapter. My dear children, first, you have to see the title of a chapter, Fire, Friend and Foe. Let me tell you how fire is our friend and how fire is our foe. My dear children, fire is our friend. Fire, we use fire at our homes. It is our good servant. It is our good servant. You all know that we use fire at our homes. With the help of a fire, we can keep ourselves warm. We use fire for an electricity purposes, my dear children. We use fire for cooking. We use fire for cooking, my dear children. We use fire to keep ourselves warm, my dear children. We use fire to produce electricity, my dear children. My dear children, fire is also our foe. It is our, it can be our foe, my dear children. If a fire gets out of control, if a fire gets out of control, it can burn our homes. It burns our homes and forests, and it can also kill people. My dear children, you have seen how fire destructs the property, how it destructs the houses, how it destructs the shops, how it destructs the forests, my dear children. Go, it can be our friend, it can be our foe, but we have to check fire regularly, my dear children. We have to check fire regularly, my dear children. You all have gas cylinders at your home. You all have electricity at your home. Once you get, once you sleep, you must off your MCP, my dear children. And you all have gas cylinders at your home, my dear children. Once you sleep, you must off your regulator value. You must off your regulator value. You must ensure that everything is safely off. Then you can go and sleep, my dear children. Go. It can be fire. It can prove harmful. It can prove harmful, and it can prove foe for us, my dear children. And it is also as our friend, as I have discussed with you, my dear children. It is used for keeping ourselves warm, my dear children. It is used for cooking purposes, my dear children, and it is used for an electricity purposes, my dear children. Okay, this lesson, is an informative one. It is difficult, my dear children, to imagine our lives without fire. It is difficult. We can't live without fire. Fire is one of the most important discoveries in human history. In human history, it can create havoc. However, it needs to be checked because it can create havoc if it goes out of control, as I have told you yesterday, my dear children. And today I also told you that if it gets out of control, it burns our homes, it burns forests, and it also kills people, my dear children. If the fire breaks out, it can be controlled by water and sand. My dear children, if it gets out of control, once the fire breaks out, we can control it by water and sand, my dear children. You have to keep these 2 points in your mind, etc., etc. This will definitely help you to put out the fire, to put away the fire, my dear children. Various firefighting instruments also help in putting out fire. If the fire goes out of control, it angles the forest, lives and property, my dear children. At beginning, we can control it. Once it gets out of control, my dear children, then it engulfs hectare is a forest lives in property, then nobody can control it, my dear children. At beginning, we must be careful. We must be careful. We can control it at beginning. After once it get out of control, my dear children, then it is complicated. It is difficult to control. In earlier times, a fire was a frightening thing. Earlier times, in ancient times, it was a frightening thing. Early men must have experienced lightning only. What they have only seen, they have seen only lightning, my dear children. Only before knowing it, Sergeant, fire is a result of a chemical reaction. What is fire? It is the result of a chemical reaction, my dear children. How? Where oxygen combines with carbon, where oxygen O2 reacts with carbon, my dear children, and hydrogen in a fuel. During this process, energy is released in the form of heat and light. My dear children, how fire is produced? You have to remember this, my dear children. When oxygen combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, during this process, what happened? Energy is released. What energy is released? But that energy is released in the form of heat and light, my dear children. Fuel, oxygen, and all the three things required to make fire. Fuel, oxygen, and all the rest, the three things that we require to make fire. My dear children. The flush point or kindling temperature of the fuel varies with every fuel. It varies with every fuel, my dear children. Fire is a good servant, as I have discussed with you. It is a good servant. It is our best friend, my dear children. As you all know, it cooks the food. It cooks the food and gives warmth in winter. In winter, we all know. We are from Kashmir, my dear children. We all know the miseries of winter. If there would not be fire queens, if there would not be fire congrees, in Kashmiri we call them congrees, it is difficult for we people to live here. We have we have during winters we face electricity problems, my dear children. So during winter time we all must have fire queens. What we call them in Kashmiri, we call them, my dear children, kangri. We all must have kangri, and that helps us to keep our body warm, my dear children. Then only we can move here and there, my dear children. During winter, we have sometimes difficulty, my dear children, to get gas on time. So we can use this wood for cooking purposes, my dear children. It is also bad master. You all know, my dear children, as I have told you, it is also bad master. It is also our foe because it damages and turns everything into ash. Once it, as I have told you, if a fire gets out of control, then it damages and turns everything into ash, my dear children. If not used wisely, we must use fire wisely, my dear children. As I have told you, my dear children, we should be cautious while we are using fire, my dear children. We must be careful. This lesson teaches us that we must be careful in doing things. Thank you and have a